Welcome back. The Naira has strengthened further in the parallel market of the FX market as traders continue to digest the impact of the CBN's newly introduced policy. So far, the parallel market has appreciated by 5% to $495 Naira per dollar. Now, with this recent development, what then happens to the domestic prices, which for some time has been on the rise? Let's bring in a research analyst with financial derivatives company, Nwannebuike Ojude, to tell us more. Good afternoon, Nwannebuike.
Good afternoon.
Now that we are seeing an appreciation in the Naira, particularly at the parallel market, what is the implication of this for domestic commodity prices? Are we likely to see prices drop anytime soon?
Okay. At the parallel market, we have seen the Naira appreciate by approximately 5%, thanks to CBN's policy. Understandable, what we are seeing is the fact that CBN intends for a rate convergence. The 5% appreciation in the Naira has not led to any significant change in the local domestic agri-product prices. So until after a while, we will likely see the forces of demand and supply at play, and those who have the capacity to pass on the exchange rate gains to the consumer will definitely lead prices of the domestic product downwards.
Now, after a while, how long are we going to see this? How long are we going to wait for the domestic commodity prices now to begin to be responsive?
In the medium term, we expect that based on the fact that inventories of most buyers of those were bought at higher exchange rates, until those inventories are sold off and then new inventories are bought at present correct exchange rates, before you can see those things begin to trickle into the domestic commodity prices.
Now let's look at oil prices. Of course, that have remained within the band of $55, $56 per barrel. Now, what does it mean for Nigeria, and how does it play out with the recent CBN policy?
Oil at $56 is a good news for Nigeria, in the sense that if we maintain our oil production at over 2 million barrels, if you compare it with 2017 budget, which was benchmarked at oil price at $42.50, and the fact that oil production will be at 2.2, you will notice that there's a significant increase in oil revenue receipt by over 15%. An increase in oil receipt will mean that the CBN will have dollars to supply to the market, which is key to increase their confidence. Overall, this will not deplete external reserve, which currently stands at 29.3. One thing that we should note is the fact that this current CBN policy is at variance with the target of 40 billion. So we would like to watch things as it progresses.
Now, let's look at the downstream oil sector. What are we likely to see there, particularly regarding the prices of petrol and diesel?
Okay, in 2006, we saw a partial deregulation of the downstream sector. We saw price movements from 87 Naira to 145. Presently, the price is subject to controversies, given the fact that oil price is at elevated levels and the currency have depreciated significantly. This will imply that PMS is currently indirectly subsidized. It's either one of two things. It's either we officially accept that subsidy is in play, or the fact that we expect further deregulation in the industry in 2017. The deregulation will imply the fact that higher oil petrol prices from 145 to probably 170 above, due to the increase in landing costs of all these petroleum prices. This will curb Nigerian consumption down significantly. Currently, we are at 22 billion liters. Consumed 22 billion liters in 2016. What we should also note is the fact that this issue is a sensitive issue, and that the ghost of Occupy Nigeria is yet unforgotten, and the government will take this as a dedicated issue in making the policy decisions.
Now, talking generally now, looking at giving us an outlook, what are you expected to see with what we have seen in the economy recently, particularly in the area of monetary policy?
For monetary policy, the last monetary policy which held in January, we saw in the communique, there were mentions of the fact that CBN intends to reduce NPR significantly, but the rate is unknown. Given the fact that we're still in a recession, and 2017 will probably close in minus 1.7%, we expect that CBN will reduce NPR by probably 200 basis points to accommodate industries and reduce burdens on the companies, especially as regards finance costs. So generally, there should be a reduction in NPR to boost aggregate economic activity.
Well, Nwanebwike, thank you very much for your time. Let's just hope so. Thank you for your time. Nwanebwike Ojude, research analyst with financial derivatives here in Lagos. Moving on now, millions are at risk of famine in the Horn of Africa and elsewhere as United Nations seeks billions in urgent funding for humanitarian and food operations to avert starvation. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says the money is needed by the end of March to help nearly 20 million people who risk starvation in Nigeria, Somalia, and South Sudan.
Citing armed conflicts and climate change as part of the reasons for the food emergency, Guterres led a call for $5.6 billion in funding for humanitarian operations in the 4 countries this year, of which $4.4 billion are needed by the end of next month to avert a catastrophe.
I'm here with my colleagues to draw the world's attention to the fact that today, more than 20 million people in South Sudan, Somalia, Yemen, and northeast Nigeria are going hungry and facing devastating levels of food insecurity. Famine is already a reality in parts of South Sudan. Unless we act now, it is only a matter of time until it affects other areas and other countries. We are facing a tragedy. We must avoid it becoming a catastrophe. This is preventable if the international community takes decisive action.
Armed conflicts are having devastating humanitarian consequences, and Mr. Guterres calls climate change a key enhancer of the humanitarian problem. The UN chief says women and girls are disproportionately affected by the crisis, and nearly 500,000 children are suffering severe acute malnutrition.
One of the biggest obstacles we face now is funding. Humanitarian operations in these 4 countries require more than $5.6 billion this year. And we need at least $4.4 billion by the end of March to avert a catastrophe.
And that's it on the program. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago.